Heroes of Dire is a relatively new MMORPG springing to life for mobile and PC after building a rather sizable following on Kickstarter. So how does it hold up? I'm Colton from MMOHuts.com, and here's our first look at Heroes of Dire. Heroes of Dire is a strategy MMORPG with a focus on gameplay like what you might find in Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics. Your army is comprised of squads, each made up of characters you recruit through the course of gameplay. Each of the characters you recruit is procedurally generated in such a way that no two are the same. You have a list of quests that's automatically populated for you. Each quest has a cooldown timer before it's removed and replaced with something else. They're pretty simple quests, at least most of them are. They mostly involve conquering a new section of the rather large map by killing a certain number of dudes of varying types. You can team up with your friends, join guilds, and compete for battlefield supremacy and plenty of loot, and it's all pretty straightforward. The combat is a drilled-down tactical experience. You move on the grid, you activate abilities or attacks based on your class, and you win if you have the best strategy or if you're the best at punching people into a fine custard. It's not reinventing the wheel, but it is fun. Every action you take adds time to your turn counter, which ticks down, allowing you to move again once it's at 0. Things start out pretty small, but battles can get massive once you start incorporating your friends and guildmates. Up to 12 players and 48 individual characters can be involved in a battle at one time, which adds a unique dynamic to the proceedings. Heroes of Dire has a neat crafting system as well, and you can spend money you earn from battles and disenchanting items you find to recruit new heroes for your army. A lot of the game beyond that focuses on social interaction. The game is cross-platform, so players can interact no matter what system they're playing on. This really plays into the game's biggest selling point. It's an entirely socially driven game. The central facets of the gameplay are focused on guilds raiding each other's guild halls, armies of players teaming up to take down raid bosses, and my favorite of the advertised features, the live Dungeon Master events. People will be able to create events in real time for other players to experience, which allow players in the community to essentially create their own lore both in what they put together for the event and how things unfold once the event starts. My only problem with this is there isn't much for players to build on except for some randomly generated characters and a world map. It's less like allowing players to flesh out the world and more like giving them a creative writing prompt. It's not a bad thing, but it might not be for everyone. I certainly think it's interesting, if nothing else. Now, I understand that this is an indie game, and it's doing a lot of very ambitious things. With that said, there are things I didn't enjoy about it. The game doesn't look bad, the environments and especially the characters have a nice level of detail about them, especially when you consider that the game was designed to run on mobile phones. This quality kind of dissolves a bit though once things start moving. A lot of the animations are jerky and just not good, especially the sidestepping and backpedaling animations. I love that the game included facing as an important thing to consider when planning moves. It's something every good strategy RPG should have. I just wish it felt more natural. Thankfully, these kind of things can be addressed and likely will as the game grows. That's because the best thing about this game is how involved the developers have opted to be. They're incredibly active on the forums, taking feedback from players and really making an effort to steer the game in a direction that's the best for their entire player base by addressing issues and adding user-requested features as they gain support. More big-time studios could really serve to take a lesson from Spellbook about this. Overall, Heroes of Dire takes the things people love about tactical RPGs and tries to build them into a very social multiplayer experience that works well despite its flaws. It's not going to appeal to everyone, but the focus and the potential are both unique and grand enough that it could blossom into something really special. Well, that's all for today. Be sure to cut me a break for once down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and keep it locked on MMOHuts.com for all the latest gaming news and reviews.